Hello, vinyl friends. We've got a fun show for you. We're exploring the Floyd and the Floyd's ranked top 5 albums.
What color is the Floyd?
Pink.
It's pink. It's a Pink Floyd.
But in the 60s, they went by the Floyd more.
I know.
Which is weird.
We are old souls, aren't we?
We are old souls.
So we've been doing these top 5 showdowns with bands, and it's a lot of fun. But the one thing we want to remind you guys to do is to go hit that subscribe button and that like button and comment and, interface with the guys that call Pink Floyd the Floyd.
Yes. And this is one that we're sure you're going to have opinions on. So please go in the comments and list your top 5.
It's funny when you collect music, and in your mind, I think, at least in my mind, I'm always like putting things in order of what I prefer. But it's funny when you're held to the fire and you have to do that. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Even if it's just 5.
And some of it is, you got to get rid of opinion and think about the band's accomplishment.
Yeah, and all of the things that the albums mean, standing on their own and as a collective.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think? Our 6th record on all of these is always the Vinyl Venture record.
It's always number 6.
So I have an idea about my number 5. Let's see if they match up.
All right. Number 5.
Oh, yeah.
The initial release from Pink Floyd.
I totally agree.
Piper
at the Gates of Dawn. I didn't have much of an appreciation for this era of Floyd until we saw Nick Mason's band that first time. And he plays all of this Syd Barrett era Pink Floyd stuff, and they do such a great job with it. And it kind of opened up a new world of Pink Floyd to me that otherwise I might not have started really digging into.
Yeah, the first 2 albums were pure psychedelic.
Yeah. And it's, you can look at the covers of these albums and know what era you're in. And it's crazy to go back and listen to this and listen to what the band became. And this, I am totally co-signing on this being number 5 for sure.
This came out in 1967, and it's really more of a Syd Barrett album than a Pink Floyd album.
Yeah.
But it's very different than anything else.
Yeah, for sure. And then the next album, Syd was also a part of, but then David was also a part of too.
Yeah.
So it kind of has Syd's fingerprints on it. But yeah, this is a great number 5 because this is the introduction to the band.
Yeah, and it was a great initial release.
Yeah. I'd love to hear the remaining dudes in Pink Floyd doing this era of stuff. But even if it's just Nick Mason, if you get a chance to go see his band, they're fantastic. So agreed. That's a great number 5. What do you think we go to from here? I'll grab the record.
Next
up on the top 5 showdown.
I would have Animals.
I have said I'm on record. Get it? On record.
He's on record.
I'm on record saying this is my favorite Pink Floyd album, but I do realize that this one is almost a standalone kind of album in their catalog. It's more atmospheric, almost instrumental in many different parts. And I love listening to this. I love putting it on, having it in the background. So I'm not going to argue with you on this being number 4, although I probably would have it higher than that just because of that. Now, this didn't sell nearly as many albums as some of the other ones. That doesn't matter to me in this.
In 1975 is when Animals came out. And this was a high concept. I mean, welcome to the world of Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Every album is a high concept.
Yeah, it's not just thoughtless, mindless music. There are very serious thoughts and intentions put behind these things. I mean, and all the artwork and everything, it's very meticulously thought out, put together. And I think Pink Floyd was really that first band that was able to combine all of those things, the music, the words, the graphics, the album cover design, the songwriting, all of it, the stage design. I mean, they really were a multifaceted band that kind of set the mark for everybody else.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I bought this a long time ago, $3.49 at second time around. Thanks, Tony.
$3.49. Now, I did get the 2018 mix of this. It's fantastic. I love it. It sounds great. It also comes with the Blu-ray 5.1. It doesn't have Atmos. Atmos is a totally different new thing that I'm not sure I'm on board with. But yeah, this is a great one. And I think number 4 for this band is probably a good place for it.
Yeah. Oh, and the song Sheep is actually a modified version of Psalm 23.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know that.
That's so... it's such a weird thing. But there were no singles from this album either.
Right. There were very few singles from any Pink Floyd album. Like 2 that I can think of.
Yeah.
Like Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 was a single that they put out. And then
We're going to get there.
Oh, okay. So that was number 4. Number 3, I would say The Wall, but I know you're saying something different. You're saying Wish You Were Here, I'm guessing.
Yes.
See? I know you, John.
Yes.
I know you. And this is out of the condom that it came in with,
yes,
the black slip cover, which has the robots shaking hands and stuff. But the art on this is so cool.
So cool, and Have a Cigar, kind of a tribute to Sid.
Well, you're thinking Shine On. You crazy
Shine
diamond.
On, Shine On.
Yeah, Shine On is a tribute to Sid.
Yeah.
Have a Cigar is kind of how the record company does what they want to do with artists.
I'm mixing up the things, but yeah, it was maybe the beginning of Waters starting to do a rant against the record industry.
Right. And, Shine On, You Crazy Diamond, when they were recording that, Sid just out of nowhere showed up at the studio.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever heard that story?
No.
Yeah, when they were recording the song that is a tribute to him, he showed up at the studio, and nobody had seen him for years.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a trip.
Yeah. But this is a great record. It's shorter than a lot of their records, but very poignant. And the song "Wish You Were Here" is just an all-time classic Pink Floyd song. So, and then you have the guy on the back here. I love this album. I don't listen to this one enough. It's just it's like kind of a hidden gem within their catalog.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you're following up Dark Side of the Moon,
Yeah.
and this came out in '75, so they had big shoes to fill.
Right. So, Wish You Were Here, number 3. There's a lot more Pink Floyd records, but I bet I can guess what the next 2 are.
Yes.
So, number 2, in my mind, would be The Wall, and that's where John just put it. This is his original copy of it, too.
Yes.
I love it. This one, tell us why this one's so important to you.
Well, The Wall, I heard it so often in high school.
Yeah.
There were so many songs from The Wall that, the cross-country team would get ready with the football team. And it's weird, the music is a time machine, but I'm in that locker room getting ready to go run.
Pumping up.
And hearing The Wall.
Yeah.
Everybody just play. It was one of those that just kind of, it was everywhere, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Just from my experience a few years later, Pink Floyd was still enormous, was still a big band, but kind of a hidden band, almost like a band that only a select group of people were hip to. You know what I mean? Hip to. Apparently, I've just turned into a 1960s jazz musician. But and they're also one of those bands that isn't like welcoming you with open arms. There are strange things about them. There are long songs. There are themed albums. There are very deep thoughts and intentions put into this stuff. And I don't think that in popular music there's a lot of other bands that have that many layers.
No, and they did it so many times over and over.
Yeah.
I mean, every album after really Dark Side of the Moon was a concept of some sort.
Yeah, at least in Roger Waters' mind.
Yeah.
And this has sold many, many copies. I think it's the best-selling double album of all time. You don't quote me on that, but I think it is.
And it was a little bit of a departure for Pink Floyd because the songs were not really long. I mean, the longest song is 6:23.
Yeah.
And that's Comfortably Numb,
Yeah.
one of the best known songs off the album.
One of the best known songs in their catalog.
Yeah.
Just fantastic. That's a great choice. I love the old school packaging with just the bricks on it.
Yeah.
And nothing else.
I have so many copies of this.
Yeah, that's very cool. So the question is, if The Wall is number 2, what is number 1? What do you think the album should be at number 1? Should it be the one that we talk about on this show almost every episode?
It's Endless River.
Yeah,
there we go.
So this came out in 2000. Was this 2010?
Yeah.
So this is basically an instrumental record, and it's a tribute to Richard Wright, who was the keyboardist who had just passed away. And these are songs that they put together and recorded in his honor.
A lot of leftovers.
A lot of leftover stuff, but that's funny.
It's kind of their coda.
So Jacob will have to make that the thumbnail for this
No.
and see how many people it pisses off.
So we really got you on that one. Ha ha. A Vinyl Ventures get you.
So Dark Side of the Moon
Yes.
would absolutely be number 1. And it's not just because of its popularity. It's not just because we talk about it all the time. It's because it is that important a record, not just for the band, but for popular music.
Yeah.
And it keeps going.
Yeah. And to think that the album is, it's
51 years old.
Yeah, it's 51 years old. It's the 4th best-selling album in history.
It's crazy.
And I mean, the number of weeks it's spent on the top 200 albums is...
Yeah. I mean, its initial run, I think, was like 900 weeks or something. I could be wrong about that. We may have to edit that out. But it goes in and out. It gets rediscovered.
Yeah.
All the time. And it's funny, I saw a thing when the 50th anniversary version of this came out last year in 2023. There were there was a special hype sticker made that hopefully was square, but I don't know for sure. But it had like the rainbow stuff on it, and there were a bunch of people getting pissed saying,
"Oh yeah,
Pink Floyd's going woke, yada yada yada." And it's like,
guess
no,
what?
It's part of the artwork, kids. Look it up. Everything about this album's iconic. It's the artwork, the songs, the mystique around it. It absolutely deserves to be number 1.
Yeah, it's one of those ones you don't want to put it number 1, but how can you be blind to that?
Right. And you know what? I love Division Bell. Really, their last album that they did from like 94. But it is 2 different bands, even though 3/4 of the band moved on with, those last 2 albums. They are just a great band. Everything they did was good. There was an intent to it, and you got to respect them for that, for sure.
Yeah, and the only other one that kind of pops up in a list of top 5 is Metal.
Yeah.
You see Metal, and the Metal is always right there around 5, 6, 7, sometimes higher.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Saucerful pops up too.
Yeah, I love both those, but they're just not the top 5 best.
Right, right. Well, that's great. I mean, you know, we were all prepared to disagree, but you know,
We agree.
the order doesn't really matter.
No.
What matters is the grouping of these albums, and you know, there are many bands that have expansive catalogs that just don't have 5 great albums.
No.
And then there are other bands that are a little more deliberate, take their time, maybe don't put as much material out, and just seem to be able to make great records. And in doing this show, I have become more appreciative of Pink Floyd and everything they have to offer, for sure.
Yeah, and really, I mean, 4 of these came out back to back.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy too. I mean, to have that at one after another.
And I mean, that's what you generally expect from bands, you know, a high creative period. They all go through it.
Yep, yep. Well, that was fun. We want you guys to get on social media with us and tell us what your top 5 are, because I know that there are going to be, you know, some disagreements about some of these. Some people, you know, there are people out there that hate Dark Side of the Moon. They're probably the same people that think the Beatles are overrated. But
Yes.
please get on social media and interact with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let us know what you think, and tell us what other bands you'd like to see us do top 5s from. Right?
That's it.
Well, that's Wheels. I'm Jay, and we'll see you all the next time around.